Hey everybody, Glenn here. Time for this week's leadership truth, which is stop the spin. Stop the spin. Have you ever noticed that when something goes slightly wrong at work, your brain kicks into gear to really begin to catastrophize what's going to happen next? Kind of blew a meeting, and then the next thing you know, you're thinking about how that you've now derailed your career, you're never going to get promoted, in fact, you're probably going to lose your job, and on and on and on. You might even get yourself to being homeless, who knows, right? But that's what our brains do. Our brains are wired to look for threats. We are constantly scanning the environment to look for threats. And what used to be a threat years ago, like a saber-toothed tiger, now is a flaming email that we might get, right? So our brains kick into this gear. And part of the thing that our brain does is it'll create this repetitive worry, and kind of attached within that is this little notion of this little voice called the inner critic, right? So not only do we start to, watch for threats, but then we also have this critic that jumps in that starts to tell us all the ways that we're screw up and all the things that we've done wrong. And those thoughts, that repetitive negative thought, is never healthy, and what it does is it creates this spin, and if you're not careful, that spin becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You keep listening to that voice in your head that tells you you can't do something, and you start owning the fact that you can't do something. Well, guess what? You're probably not going to be able to do it, right? So we have to stop this spin. So one of the best ways I know how to do that is a technique that I learned from a gentleman named Rick Carson, who wrote the book called Taming Your Gremlin. Taming Your Gremlin, great book, great read, fast read. Just pick it up, lots of pictures and things like that in it. But one of the exercises he has you do is actually draw your gremlin. He has you draw it out and give it a name. Because when we can separate that inner critic and make it not part of us, but actually something else, then we can diminish its power. So think about who's your inner critic, what do they look like, and what name would you give them? And next time that inner critic starts poking up, what do you want to say to them to shut them up? You can use a 4-letter word. I don't judge. All right, so try naming and claiming your critic and seeing what you can do to stop that spin by putting them in their place. All right, have a great week, everybody. I'll look forward to seeing you again next week, where we will do another leadership truth. And if you've got one for me, send it my way. Love getting them. Thanks, everyone.